Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let me show you what I'm doing. Back to repacking wheel bearings on this crumbler here. If you saw here, it was probably back early January, maybe late December, I forget right offhand. But I repacked the wheel bearings on the newer crumbler that has the bigger tires. And this here is the older one, and I got all new hydraulic lines put onto it. I rebuilt all the cylinders, which I did some videos on that. Well, the lift cylinders, not the wing cylinders. And now I'm repacking wheel bearings. I've already done this one here. This is the left wing. I've already done that one. I'm getting ready to jump over here on this one. And so far on this one right here, the back bearing, I actually had to get a new bearing and put in it along with the race because it had gotten water and the bearing in it was all rusted. These here, that one had just a dab of moisture, but it did not hurt the bearing, so the bearing was still good. I'll find out here on this one and see what it's like. The bearings, though, were dry, and so because when you roll the thing, it had a pretty good rumble to it. But once I get it taken apart here, I'll bring you back in to show it to you. I got the hubcap here taken off. Figure I'd show you right quick. I'm getting this cotter key out. If I can get the bend. There we go. I can tell the hub is definitely dry. There's not much grease in it. I got the one piece straightened out, which actually this one here is kind of an oddball. The hole for the cotter key, most of them always set up and down. This one here, though, sits crossways. Because most of them always set vertical, but like I say, this one here, though, for some reason is setting crossways, just the way they bored the keyhole through the spindle. All right, that's got it halfway straightened out, I think. Go ahead and I thought I'd get it tapped through. One thing I normally do, though, to get it to go through a little bit easier, take a pair of needle nose pliers and stick into it. Then hammer on the plier. Works pretty good. All right, I just got that castle nut taken off, so let's see what that front bearing looks like if I can get it walked out of there. Oh, the whole hub may just come off with it. This hub here, hey, there we go. Well, looks pretty good. I've not seen any water, and so that's a good thing. All right. You can see, though, it's pretty dry, so it needs definitely re-stamp with grease. But this hub here, these are the type where you press the grease seal into the back of the hub. I think, if I remember right, I think I did some videos when like I say, this would have been back there probably in early January, I'm guessing, when I repacked the wheels on that big disc. And on those, the grease seal goes onto the spindle, then you put the hub over top of it. Whereas here, you just simply take and press the grease seal right into the back of the hub on top of the bearing, and then the whole thing slides right onto your spindle. So I'm going to get this thing flipped over here and try and get that back bearing there knocked out. All right, I just got that back bearing knocked out. Let's take a look at it. I need to dig that old dirty grease out of there. Well, surprisingly, the bearing don't look too bad. I'll take and put it into my bearing packer. That thing works great. And I know I've shown you videos on that as well. And so I'll take and clean off all the old grease. Clean the old grease out of the back of that hub. And then I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to stamp new grease back into it. All right, I got the grease all cleaned off that bearing. Got it cleaned out of the back of this hub. And like I say, you've seen me do this before. Just put the little cap on. In fact, actually, we're getting down to almost flush with the side. So I need to put more grease back into it. This should easily do this bearing here. You can push it down by hand. However, I found it's a whole lot easier just take and put the thing in the vise and just we put some even pressure onto it. Just don't go too hard, that way you don't break the bottom of this out. All right, I don't know if you can see that in there or not. Okay, yeah, you can kind of see down there how the old grease is pushed up around the sides. And that's what you want. That way it pushes all the old grease out and new grease in between the rollers. And you know you're good to go. Put just a little bit more pressure onto it. And pull that plunger out. There we go. You can see how it shoves all the old black grease out. Probably can't see it too well on camera, but I can see at the base of the black grease, I can see brown. That's what you want. That's the new grease that has come through. Sorry about the quick cutoff there. Phone call came through. But I'm going to clean all that old grease out of the back of the bearing, and then I'll put the bearing here into the back of the hub. I got my new grease seal. Right there's two old grease seals. I got to throw them away. But I'll take and I'll put that right on top like that, run over to the other shed, and I found the easiest way to put these in is put them on the press. Just take and I'm going to take a flat piece of metal, lay across, then just going to be taking and press them in, because the edge of that grease seal goes in flush with the top edge of the hub here. So that works. Now I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to take and mount the thing back on the spindle. All right, I got the front bearing repacked. Let me flip it around here. Right there's the grease seal. I got that pressed in. And of course, with that pressed in the back, the grease seal is what holds the back bearing in place. Like I say, if it's the setup that has the grease seal that goes onto the hub first, then the hub and bearing all goes on. I mean, the grease seal that goes onto the spindle first, then the hub. You just gotta watch when you go when you're rocking the hub around that the back bearing doesn't fall out, because there's nothing to hold it in place. And so we just take and pop him on like that, and there we got it. Now I'm ready for my washer. Oh, I should have cleaned that thing up. It's got that old grease on it. Well, tell you what, we can take care of that problem pretty easy. Just take and put that right there on that raker bar, and it'll disappear out in the field the very first time you drop the thing in the dirt. Problem solved. Okay, and put that washer on. Get the castle nut. It goes on the front end, and then of course the cotter key goes through there. Now I can tell putting this hub on here that here on the back, you can see a little bit of a gap right there. And thing you just want to do is, as you tighten that castle nut down, is turn the hub. That way it helps that seal, that grease seal, that little rubber ring to pop up onto the onto that that part of the spindle. And now that's getting so stiff I can't turn it but with my fingers. I grab my crescent wrench. So once I get this one here done, that'll have half the wheels anyway. These three here will be all done, and then I'll be ready to hit the one there on the, well, I guess that's the right-hand wing, and then the two over there on the left mainframe. There we go. Okay, you can see how right there it's closed up down like it's supposed to be. Okay, there it bottomed out, and so we want to take and put just a little bit of preload on the bearings. You don't want to overdo it. And you also got to try and find that dumb cotter keyhole. And sometimes that's easier said than done. You just got to find the right notch. Okay, that's going to be a little too tight. Well, I may have to kind of grab that pair of pliers and kind of waller that end around to get it to pop in there. Wait and see. Okay, had to play around with it, but I finally got that dumb cotter key through that hole. Just take and bend these two tabs back, and they'll be ready to put the hubcap back on. Job done. Well, got to put the wheel on too. Okay, there's one. And we'll get the other one here coming around. There we go. Alrighty, that's got that. There's the hubcap. I always put these here on with a plastic hammer. That way you can't damage anything. Well, not as likely to. There we are. That's got that on. I just got to get them lugs lined up to the holes in the rim. There we go. And that's got it. I am going to take and, if I can find it, throw a little never seize on those stud bolts. I'll say one thing, never seize, I think, spreads faster than COVID does. Seems like you can get it on your fingers, and before long it's all over your hands and everything. So, well, tell you what, I think I'm going to call that an end of this video. maybe what I might end up doing is taking and throwing in a short clip. Well, take that back. I kind of changed my mind. But here's sometime I'll show you. You probably saw, if you saw that short video I upload there on my new air compressor, I'll take and it's kind of neat how they have the throttle hooked up on that thing to where it automatically speeds and it slows itself up and down. And so that's kind of neat. But maybe I'll just take and make that one clip of its own. But yeah, so that's got this on the crumbler. And so I've got 3 more wheels left to do, and that'll have that. And this thing will be basically ready to go. I got a few adjustments here and there that I want to make on it. But other than that, though, and of course, you've already seen back here in December, I think it was, when I went through and put all new bearings in all the baskets. That was a fun job. And other than that, though, I think it'll soon be ready to head to the field. So take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.